Okay, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the May 23rd County Commissioners meeting. Would you all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first thing on our agenda are minutes from our last meeting. Gentlemen, do you have any additions or corrections?
I don't. I move to accept the proceedings of Board of County Commissioners, Montezuma County for May 16th, 2023, as presented.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to accept the proceedings of the Board of Commissioners, Montezuma County, May 16th, 2023. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, next we have planning.
Good morning.
Good
Morning.
morning.
So we have a plat. This subdivision was approved last August for Justin Brianna Wyatt. Prior to them finishing the plat and getting it recorded, they were approached and sold their property to Catherine and Billy Thornton. And the Thorntons now want to just complete the previously approved subdivision, so we have that Mylar for signature. Since
Does
the
this-
subdivision stays with
Yeah.
the land, not with the owner, this is exactly what was reviewed and approved with the two previous meetings.
So this finalizes everything then, once we sign it?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no issue here. It's the same thing we approved. So.
Okay. Wow, 2 weeks in a row, you're gonna make it easy on us?
Sure.
All right, I like it.
All you had to do is listen to an explanation this time. That's all we got, unless you want to review our list of problem properties, update that, or save that for a workshop.
I would rather save that for a workshop. I think that if you have that list, then that would be where we can have the dialogue to put it along with Ian's input to see which one is going to be the highest priority and how do we move forward. So
Fair enough.
if you have that, we can definitely put that on the workshop for not next week, the week after.
Right. Yeah, I sent out some letters last week, so we'll see what becomes of them. It's kind of a problem getting to the right address, but we sent it to the mailing address that doesn't show up in GIS, and we sent it to the physical address, so we'll see if we get a response or not.
Okay. Are you guys okay with that, moving it to the workshop?
You bet.
Okay.
All right,
All right.
fair enough.
Sounds good. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right. Next is our public comment, and I'm going to look out there and I'm just going to ask, will we have any public comment today? Okay. We're going to move right along to our department reports then. Social services, I don't see them down here, so we're going to move on to MOCO. Jennifer.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
So, first off, we talked about the intergovernmental agreement with RICO yesterday. If we could get that signed today, that'd be great.
So I reviewed this that you sent me last night,
Uh-huh.
or that you sent to all of us last
Yes.
night. So I actually have a lot of questions.
Okay.
So you broke it out to 2 times per week and then 2 times a month.
Right,
Which
the
2
original
times-
plan.
2 times a month is what we're going to for this IGA as it's stated. So the 2 times per week is off the table. So the very first thing that hit me was the fuel for 2 times a week is the same as it is for 2 times a month, and that's $19.28.
Did I didn't,
And I'm not
I'm not
sure that we can buy fuel to get to and from Rico 2 times a month for $19.
what I did with that is so we keep track of all that.
Mm-hmm.
We keep track of fuel, we keep track of what it costs per ride, for everything we do. And that does sound low. I might have to look at that one again, because that one does sound low. I may have missed that, that line. But, so I can look at that again.
So, and then it's not broke, I mean, if you go down everything, if you look at the maintenance, the insurance, what's the WT on vehicle? What is that?
Wear and tear,
W and T?
wear and tear.
Wear and tear?
Yes,
So, anyway, the total calculation is 210.96
Per month.
month.
right. And Rico is paying up to they're paying $500 a month, for those rides, so. So even
So-
with the fuel adjusted, it should still come under the 500 there.
Which are my questions, because of looking at these numbers, I don't think they're enough to cover our cost.
That's what, like I said, we keep track of that. We keep track of what it is per ride, and that's what I used. I actually used last
So you're
year's
telling me
numbers.
that fuel at $19.28 a month, it's basically 5.5 gallons that you can drive up and back with 5 gallons of fuel?
No, I may have to look at that one again, I'm sorry.
So-
The fuel might be off.
Even the maintenance at 1104, I have a lot of questions, and
Okay.
I'm not comfortable signing this yet until we make sure that these numbers, and this is just me. I've got 2 commissioners to the sides of me that can sign it right now. But again, like we said, we have to cover our cost.
Right,
And I don't see that we're even coming close
okay.
to covering our
I can look at
cost.
that again. I can get that worked out again.
Okay.
Yeah, those numbers jumped out at me last night, so
Okay.
let's double check and make sure that those are the
I can
correct
do that.
numbers.
I can
And
do
we
that.
can put you back on the workshop
Yeah,
for next
that's-
Monday.
Okay.
We don't have to kick this down the road. I mean, we can do it next Monday. We can bring these costs
No,
in
we
here.
can't
You
do
can
it
work.
next
I'm
Monday.
sorry,
No,
sorry.
the week
Next
after.
Monday workshop, our
Right.
next Monday workshop.
Okay. We can do that, yeah.
Okay,
Because
Definitely.
I have way too many questions on, here again, we can't subsidize outside of our county.
Right. And the other thing I was going to tell you too today is the difference between taking people to like Farmington or Durango or that kind of thing is we're coming back into town. So we will be able to do other rides in between those rides. So it's not going to be, they're not going to be stuck like they are kind of in Durango, for the day. So,
Okay.
okay. I
Right.
will relook
So
at that.
I'd really like to have more detail that's
I can do that.
broken down a lot better for me. And again, I got these last night in between a meeting, and
Yeah.
so I didn't have a lot of time to review them, but I
Okay.
just had questions for today, so.
No,
if
I
you
can
would
do that.
Travis, put her on the next Monday workshop.
Okay, yeah, I
Okay.
can do that, yep.
All right. What else do you have, Jennifer?
So I got in contact with the radio station and the Journal.
Mhm.
They should be running some PSAs for us. The lady I talked to had me email her the information on both of those. So I'm just going to check back this week to make sure they were able to do that. So we've got those PSAs going. I'm going to give you guys real quick, I didn't get to send it out, but this is the flyer that I'm putting into different stores and doctor's offices.
Thank you.
So this is what I made up for our flyer, just because I wanted to have something to put, like I said, at the doctor's offices. And the doctor's offices are really good about giving out our information. We did that last year, and we just brought them a bunch of flyers and business cards, and they gave them out to their people, so, or their clients, I guess, customers they call them, I think. So, so we've got that going, and then I just want to, like I said, check back with them this week and make sure that they got what they need for that.
What radio stations are you putting the PSAs on?
I did it to the one that does I can't remember what the name of it was. I'm sorry. It's in my,
KRTZ, KISZ, KVFC.
oh, I didn't even think about KTRZ. I will do that too. And what? Oh. I think it was JXKD.
Yeah,
Yes.
KSJD,
Yep.
the Crow, whatever the Crow is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that we have a lot of local stations that have a different variety of listening
Mhm.
audiences, so.
Mhm. Okay,
You know,
I
if
listened
we're really
to
gonna get this
FM,
out there,
so-
because I still ask people if they realize that we do transit.
I know.
Let me
and they
ask you
don't.
guys out there, how many people know that we do transit?
That's because they're here
Okay,
all the time.
that's because you're here all the time. However, we're not doing a good job of getting the message out if we're not getting it out there.
Right.
And we serve this community for that purpose.
No, I
and we
agree.
need to do a really good job.
I mean,
I also, Vicky put out on our Facebook page a variation of this, because what I did for the radio stations, I put on there, do you know that Montezuma County has transit or, bus routes for everybody? So that's what I kind of tried to say is, it's for everybody. Like I said, do you need transportation? We transport anyone. So I'm trying to get that out there like that, and I will get onto the other radio stations.
Okay.
I don't listen to radio stations, so. But,
Kelly Turner manages out here at KVFC and KISC, and
okay,
you might give Kelly a call.
okay, yep, I can do that.
You might even do one of his Sunday morning interviews,
Yeah,
Okay,
just to really get it out there.
okay,
and those stations got bought up.
I saw that. Yep, I did see that, so. I am fully staffed, so if we do get to do the RICO transit, or transit for those guys, we are fully staffed at this point. So hopefully we'll stay that way. We've got some good people, so.
Good.
Yeah. And then I need to get on, I guess, can we get on the schedule for the same workshop for the feasibility study information?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
that'd be great.
So just send a bullet point of everything that you want to talk about so that it's on the agenda.
Okay.
That way we can discuss everything that's on the agenda.
Right.
So one of the issues that we have that my attorney so eloquently beats me on the back every day about, if it's not on the agenda, we don't discuss it.
That's fine.
So,
No,
and
absolutely.
it makes things very transparent and very good, because if we talk about something that wasn't on the agenda, then, I mean.
Somebody may miss it.
Well, somebody may miss it.
Right.
So we
No, I
want to
agree.
make sure that it's highlighted that everything that we're going to talk about is on the agenda.
I can do that.
Okay.
So I will get that in to Travis before then. So,
All
okay.
right.
And so that's pretty much all I've got. Our rides are still going up, so.
Good.
Yeah, we had 68 rides today. So that's a really good day.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, any
Okay.
questions? I think that's all I have.
I don't have anything else.
Okay,
Thank you,
and I'll get that
Jennifer.
information to you guys. I'll break it down more. So, okay.
Appreciate it.
All right,
All right,
thank you.
Thanks. Lori, with our senior services right now. Good morning.
Morning.
That's better. Since I've been in at the interim director, I billed for 4 months that didn't get billed. Caught up on that. We did run out of money, but we're okay for until July. I've learned SUDS. I got right in the middle of writing the RFP, completed that, become a board member for the RAC board, held a advisory board meeting. And at the advisory board meeting, there was a outfit in Durango that was granting e-bikes. So I invited them over to give their spiel on that, and we do have about 4 seniors that did get a e-trike, so it cost them $125 for this e-trike, and they're tickled to death. I had an audit with the CSBG. It was half done, and then when I came in there, I finished it up, and the lady came over and did the audit, and everything's good. Everything looked real good when she left the office. Plus, I've been doing the nutrition supervising job, ordering and keeping the sites going. Mancus and Dolores is doing really good. Mancus is outstanding. They've got they're in their farmer's market. They've put up a popcorn stand in farmer's market, and the money that they make from this popcorn stand goes for what supplies and stuff that they need. Like they bought a vacuum cleaner for the place out of their money. They bought a big frying pan for themselves with the money, and they're doing really good. Lots of elderly people that are going to the site and really enjoying it. All in all, I think I've done the commodities out to the fairgrounds twice now this last 2 months. I think there's a lot of people that are in desperate need of food. A lot of people that is coming there, and they're doing our best with commodities and senior boxes. All in all, I think everything's up and running and doing good, and we're building back better. And I think that's about all I have. Any questions?
I have one question, and it was brought up in the Dolores meeting last night. Have you, and maybe you're not even aware, but I think the insurance was purchased for a year for the community center over there. So we're secure, I think, for this year.
Mm-hmm.
But if the town doesn't take it over, I'm not sure if they're going to be able to keep that open.
Okay.
So our senior meals are still had there on Mondays. Have you looked or entertained another venue if that closes? Because
We did several years ago, but I'll have to get back at it. There's also, I don't know, might think about them doing a yard sale or something to pay for that insurance. I don't know what the,
Well, I think it's more than that. So
Okay.
the board, they're struggling to keep it open because
Right.
they just can't fund it.
right,
They can't fund it anymore. They can't fund the maintenance, they can't fund just to keep it open. The insurance was one of the biggest things that just came to be, and they finally did get something put in place by April, but they approached the town to take it over. Now the town wants to do, I think they said last night, some kind of a feasibility study to see if they can operate it at all. But just be prepared that
okay, okay,
if it closes down, we need to have a place for those seniors to go.
okay, sounds good. I'll look into it.
Lori, are you still in the bottom of the VFW over there?
No, we're,
Are you in the community center now?
yeah,
Okay, good,
Mancus is in the,
good.
Yeah, they've been in the community center for quite a while.
yeah,
Yeah, I was just
Which
making
is
sure.
big.
Yeah,
It's a big open space. It's got
it
a lot
is,
of room.
it is, yeah. And then Mancus is considering doing a remod there, and I don't know what's keeping them, but we'll have to move out of there for a couple of months until it's done. We've looked into another place there that
okay.
will help us.
Well, you might just have a plan B.
Yeah,
I hope it doesn't happen, but might be
yeah,
thinking about a plan B.
huh. Okay, thank
All
you.
right. Thank you, Lori. Okay. Short timer, come on down. Good morning, Lori. Good.
A lot of Lori's today.
A lot of Lori's today.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning,
Good
Gina.
morning. Go ahead and take care of this.
Okay. I would so move we accept the minutes of the regular session of the Board of Social Services held on Tuesday, April 25th, 2023.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to accept the record of proceedings for the Department of Social Services for April 2023. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then the payables?
Yeah. I would so move we accept the financials for the Department of Social Services for the month of April 2023, and the amount of EBT total is $962,832.15, and the total amount is $1,385,543.04.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to accept the payables for the month of April for the Department of Social Services in the amount of $1,385,543.04. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
That's quite a decrease.
it is.
Yeah, our totals are going down as expected.
Is that total going down because of the number of applicants or the amount they're paying to each one?
It's the amount that they're paying to each
Mostly
one.
the amount?
Mostly the amount. The numbers are always going to be there because there's so many people on food stamps, and that's not going to decrease in the terms of the numbers, but it's the amount that's being paid out.
Okay.
How many people do we have on SNAP and food stamps?
6,000.
I thought it was more than that.
Oh, yeah,
I
there
think
was
she
quite a
said
few.
12,000
There
were
were- yeah, it's about, it
eligible.
was like 12,000 people. Hold on just a minute. I don't want to misquote.
Can you pull that mic a little closer, Gina?
The last number I got was something like in SNAP, we were talking about Medicaid was 12,000. That was
Right.
the big number, but SNAP, there was something like 5,446 eligible, and those enrolled were 46%.
Okay.
Okay? So totally enrolled was like 5,000.
Okay.
That's a big number.
20% of the county.
Yeah, and then for Medicaid, we had 12,019 enrolled. Not enrolled was like 206 out of our population. So we had a percentage of Medicaid enrolled was like 98%.
So the public health emergency has ended and some of those benefits are going away, am I correct?
It's the
In Medicaid?
amount that's being paid out, like the amounts that were initially given to folks when the
Right.
PH had the extra amount. They're
Is
no
all
longer
gone.
getting
That-
it.
That stopped though in March, so correct?
Yes,
Was it March?
yes.
Okay.
So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the next 2 months in terms of the numbers. See if it stays a little bit stable with the numbers. We'll see.
Yeah, those people on Medicaid, are they looking for other avenues?
Well, all I can tell you is if they're on Medicaid and they're eligible for Medicaid and we have to do redeterminations, they are contacting our technicians because they've gotten notices.
Okay,
So they're being served, you know, if they're asking questions about their Medicaid, we tell them whether or not they're eligible or not. And I think we have a very good staff. I'm really happy to say that we're fully staffed, and I hope to keep it that way. But every time I tell you guys that, someone leaves.
Yeah.
So I'm just crossing my fingers that we keep our staff as it is.
I mean, we're not the only ones affected out there by staffing.
Well, we had
Turnover.
2 departments that reported today they're fully staffed, so that's
Yeah.
100% for the day.
But I know in other counties, keeping people on board, and you know, and it takes time to train staff, 6 months, and the time and effort that's put into training staff, and then if they leave in a year, I mean, all that training time and effort, it kills people, and that's a lot of work that has to be done. And I am totally convinced that if you don't retain staff, you're going to lose,
Knowledge.
well, not only knowledge, but time and effort that's put into it. It's like it's wasted
It's a
time.
lot of money. So have you, I mean, we've kicked this around a little bit. There are a lot of people, private industry, others that are, I mean, if you take the job and you're gonna train them, you actually sign a contract that says, if we train you, you have to be here 2 years, 3 years minimum, otherwise you pay back the training cost. So have you guys kicked that around? Because we're kicking it around all
Yeah.
the time, because we've got a,
We've
we're
got
a
an
training
investment.
ground, and it costs us so much money, and then we lose them in
Yeah. That-
6 months, so.
I could see that happening in the future, and it would also be in conjunction with CDHS and what their rules and policies are regarding hiring technicians and caseworkers, et cetera. And the same thing happens with caseworkers. They have to go through extensive training for casework practice through the CWTS program at the state.
What's CWCS?
Child welfare training
Okay.
system where they have to actually be online and they have to do so many hours of training in order to be a functioning caseworker and have that authority to do what they're doing. But I could see it possibly happening, but it would have to be with working with CDHS and working with their policies and regulations. It wouldn't be just a county thing. Policy.
And I understand that, but
I know.
think about it, because we continue to lose people that we've trained. We get them trained and they're here 6 months
Yeah.
after they're trained, and then we lose them to a higher wage. We're
Continually training.
Yeah,
we are spending money like crazy for training.
I agree.
So, look at it.
I will look at it for the next, how many days?
Look at it hard. I guess that's right. We'll pass that on to your, yeah.
And I just want to say thank you for giving me this opportunity to serve Montezuma County and working under your leadership, and I wish you all the best.
We wish
All
you the
right,
best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I hope you're going to Hawaii or Tahiti or,
Actually, I'm going to Morocco for probably 4 months.
oh, good.
And I'm going to be working in my, what's it called? Where all the plants are, greenhouse.
Hmm.
And watering the plants. And I get to cultivate plants, not people anymore.
Good. Good. All right, Lori, well, you know what you have to pass on. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Good
Thank
luck
you.
in the future, Gina. Yep. And good luck with your knee.
Yeah, I had the second procedure done like 3 weeks ago, the manual,
Mhm.
it's called manipulation, because I didn't have full,
Full range?
you know, and it was under anesthesia, and it helped a lot with the pain. So, another month of this, my friend.
Good. All right. Take care. Okay, we're going to move right into unfinished business. Discussion and a decision as far as it relates to the SRS, the Secure Rural School Funding.
The school
Obviously-
districts are still trying to figure it out on their end, so we'll have to bypass this.
Well, let me ask you a question, because obviously by statute, the 25-25, we have to give. It's just a matter of how we divvy it up by the school districts. But we still have our 50% discretionary that we can discuss, or do we have to have that discussion with them too, Ian?
My recommendation would be to divvy it all out at the same time. I mean, the statute does talk about,
Okay.
obviously, it's 25 and 25 is discretionary, but let's just do it all at the same time.
Okay. Sounds good. So we'll, I guess, just leave that on the agenda, Travis, until they finally show up, and then we'll deal with it at that point in time. Next is what was just discussed previously, the intergovernmental agreement with the town of Rico. We're going to put that off until we have our next workshop, so there won't be anything discussed on that. Dustin, if you want to come on down, we talked yesterday in our workshop, a decision based on the janitorial services, and then item number 2, the HVAC units that were discussed yesterday. So the first one, the janitorial services, we have it up here. For the sheriff's office, $11,500, MoCo $1,575, Road and Bridge $3,500, for a grand total of $16,575. We did have our cleaning service leave us last month, so we had to go back out to bid to get new quotes. These quotes are an increase of cost to the county in the amount of $6,495, and we have our attorney dealing with that as far as contractual purposes with the cleaning company that we had on board. So, gentlemen, what we have in front of us today is a decision as it relates to the cost presented. And these are Dustin's recommendations.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I would make a motion, we approve, let's just blanket it, approve the recommendations of maintenance for janitorial services for the Sheriff's Office, MoCo, and Road and Bridge, awarded to Monica's Cleaning Service, $11,500, for the Road and Bridge service to Decker and Associates for $3,500, and to MoCo for Superior Services, the amount of $1,575. Total amount $16,575, no cents.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to accept the 2023 janitorial services as presented in the amount of $16,575. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Thanks for all the
There you go,
legwork,
sir.
Dustin.
Next, we have a couple of units, and they were bid out to Comfort Air, Farmington Heating and Metal, and GARS Incorporated out of Durango. We have our low bidder, who is at 25,338.63, and that's for all 3 units, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And I reached out to them yesterday afternoon, and they will accept our tax exempt, so it'll actually be $24,409.
Right.
What was that, 24?
$24,409.
Okay. We did look at our procurement policy, and in our procurement policy, local vendors do have a 2%. This is not within that 2% advantage, so we will, your recommendation was to take the low bid of Farmington Heating and Metal, and that's basically what we have in front of us right now.
I move we accept the low bid from Farmington Heating and Metal Company for the $24,409 for the 3 HVAC replacement units.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the 2023 HVAC unit replacements to Farmington Heating and Metal in the amount of $24,409 for 2023. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Quick question, Dustin. Those units match up with our controllers?
They just have regular thermostats over there.
Okay,
And they are direct replacements, no curb adapter needed or anything.
okay.
Okay.
Anything else?
Anything else you got?
No. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir.
Have a good day.
Appreciate it. Discussion and a possible approval of the sheriff's contract for the U.S. Forest Service. He was supposed to ask and get back to us if they could increase his funding. Was that?
Yeah, so based upon the previous conversation that we had, I told the sheriff I'd go ahead and present this for him. He did make the changes. Let me scroll down to the correct page. So if you'll see here, the changes were made to the .65 per mile as well as the $60 an hour. So that was the request that was made for the adjustment. So that was done.
So then with this contract, Ian, they're gonna realize that that 10,500 is only gonna cover X amount of hours. So it may not be enough to cover all the special events that they want covered.
Yeah, I mean, and ultimately, that's gonna be at the discretion of the sheriff's office, because, I mean, this is the amount that's getting charged, and that's what the amount of the contract is.
Okay. All right. Questions, gentlemen?
No. Let's see.
So with this change in funding this is a change to 10,500?
10,500 was the amount. We just wanted it specific so that they knew that here's the rate we're charging them, so that when the 10,500 ran out, there was no more coverage.
Okay. You okay?
Yeah, go ahead, Jerry.
I move to approve this agreement between the San Juan National Forest and Montezuma County Sheriff's Office to provide services on the National Forest land in a total of funding of $10,500. It's, I guess, agreement is 0596-0217.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to accept the modification of grant or agreement between the San Juan National Forest and the Montezuma County Sheriff's Office in the amount of 10,500. Is there any further discussion on this one?
No.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ms. Kim, I'll need to get a copy of that before That way I can get it to the sheriff.
Okay, I think I have everything, Kim, but if I miss something, you can capture me later. Okay. Next, Jerry, we have a new liquor license application.
Oh, we're transferring ownership.
Yep.
My name's Jerry Frizzell. I'm from Montezuma County Clerk Recorders. I do the new liquor license and renewals for Montezuma County. I have a new liquor license for G. Wilkers BB LLC, doing business at 24001 Road G.2 in Cortez. And they have passed all of their backgrounds, checks, and all their paperwork.
Okay. This is just a simple transfer. Anything, Ian, that's specific on this one?
No.
Okay.
Okay. I would so move we approve the transfer of ownership application for G. Will Liquors located at 24001 Road G.2, Cortez.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept and sign a retail liquor license application for a transfer of ownership for G. Will Liquors located at 24001 Road G.2. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That was quick.
And I do have a question for you guys. When the sheriff cannot have enough patrol people to do special events at the county, and people have to go and search for private ones or for something, do they still have to come to you guys to get approved to be able to get sourced out to somebody else instead of the sheriff's office to do the liquor license, to do the patrol at the special events?
I think that if you look at the fairgrounds application, it just says that they have to have the security there.
Mhm.
So we're not gonna approve it until we know that the security is there.
Okay, but they don't
So
have to
if
come to
they
you to
get-
get approved?
No.
No.
If they're
Okay.
reaching out to the city, Mancus, whoever is certified deputies,
Because one entity was told that they have to come through you guys first to get approved, since the sheriff cannot do it.
well,
So,
well, they have to come to us to get approved, yes.
for the license, but not to get
Right.
approved to get somebody else besides a sheriff to do the...
No, as long as we know that they have
Have
the
somebody.
security for
Okay.
the event, they do have to come in front of us for that, because that's our question.
Okay. As long as I have like a letter like I do with the sheriff. As long as I have a letter from whoever's going to be doing the patrol out there at the special events.
But they do have to be certified
Yeah,
deputies
certified deputies.
or law enforcement.
Certified
They
law
have to be
enforcement.
law enforcement. Okay.
Yeah, can't be, because the way we set that up is if they have to make an arrest, they have to be able to do that. So it can't just be a
A security
A
guard.
security
somewhere
guard
from
who
somebody.
has no arrest capability. The way I understand that is the way we set that up.
I'd have to look at that. That's my recollection. I know that's how we have it set up in the race contract, and I think that is also in our fairgrounds policy. I'll check this week to be sure. I know that's how we did in the race contract.
So just for my clarification, is it my understanding that it's Jerry's responsibility to get the letter from the sheriff, or is it the applicant's responsibility to get the letters from the security?
That should be the applicant's
Applicant, yeah.
responsibility.
This should be applicant's
Not
responsibility.
yours.
Now we know, okay.
Because she was told that it was hers, so that's,
Who told you that? Did we tell you that?
Yeah.
No. It's the-
We just want a
it's-
clarification.
It's the applicant's responsibility to bring all of the documentation necessary to bring it before the board.
Okay. Okay. Okay, that's it.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thanks,
All
Jerry.
right, thanks. All right, you guys want to stop and take a 5-minute break so we can at least have this for an hour? Just kidding. Going way too quick today. All right, Natural Resources, James, come on down.
Morning, everyone.
Good morning.
First thing I wanted to let commissioners know is that I got a message from Ken Curtis from DWCD, and he wanted me to let you all know that the state water engineer will be down, Mr. Kevin Ryan, and it will be tomorrow that he'll be down. He will be holding an outreach meeting at the Southwestern Water Conservation District office at 4 p.m. And I have sent an email to the commissioners here that has all, it's got a flyer basically, that gives you all that information. So just wanted to pass that along. Also wanted to let the commissioners know that we've been working on the outdoor recreation grant. And last week we held meetings. We had 2 public meetings. We had one in Dolores and one at the fairgrounds. The one in Dolores was pretty well attended, less so at the fairgrounds. Nevertheless, we're getting some pretty good information out of the public outreach that we've been doing, and our consultants have been doing one-on-one interviews also with key stakeholders out there. And of course, we kind of did that within these meetings too. We had the attendees interview each other to try to, help bolster our data sets on that. So far right now, we've done a pretty thorough analysis of the existing data that's out there. So from this point forward, we're going to be trying to add to that data set to help us kind of get a better picture of what's going on within Montezuma County. Also been working with the, and of course this is ongoing work with the Dolores.
Can I stop you for just a minute?
Yes.
What were just some of the comments? I mean, I'm just curious.
Oh,
What-
yes.
what were-
Okay, yeah, so some of the themes that we've heard right now, I mean, one of the most outstanding ones that we've heard is that we want to be careful about how we approach everything out there. As we all know, use of our public land has been increasing. And I think there's a strong fear that we may turn out to be something like Moab. And of course, everybody, feels like that's not the direction we really want to go. Obviously, we want to tap into that as a resource, as we can, but we want to be very careful about it. Just, basically, we don't want to overuse our resources. That was kind of the underlying theme on that one. And of course, I think we all have experienced that, especially with COVID, there was an extreme spike in use out on the public lands, and that's reflected through the data and everything too. So that is something to be very cautious about.
So do they have like a thought process of growth for that, like 1-2%, or is it just, I mean, that's a pretty broad, for me, that's, well, we don't want it to turn into Moab, well, we're not anywhere close to that.
Sure.
But I mean, what kind of maybe I'm asking too many questions, but what is the idea of, because people are gonna continue to come,
Right, certainly, yeah.
and we can't keep them off of public lands.
Right. Yeah, and so that's something we'll have to, synthesize as we collect data and continue to work through this process. But that's something that should come out through the other end as part of a strategic plan on how we really want to focus and target our resources to help kind of grow that base. So at this point, I don't think we've got a broad strategy on how that happens, but that's something we need to continue to visit with everybody about and try to figure out a strategy on that.
Okay.
So, but yeah, certainly, I think it's on everybody's mind. We've certainly all felt the, you look at roads up in the forest and everything, and they're just getting hammered. So, obviously, there has to be some good thought put into this and a good strategy developed. So.
Well, with the passing of, what was it, 59 or 56, the state parks that we did get passed, they got signed into law, I think, last week. So the funding for actually state parks, for roads, the infrastructure that goes to them, we have one obviously at Mancus
Right.
State Park. And then the Dolores Norwood Road, which goes to another couple state parks up there, obviously not in our county, but we are directly impacted with that. So Senate Bill 23059, I want to say, Travis. Anyway, you can look it up, or 56. That'll help us as far as it relates to state parks and the funding that we're going to be able to receive to get the infrastructure fixed. I came down the Dolores Norwood Road Monday morning, and gosh, it's a
it's pretty rough. I've been up there
it
recently.
is a challenge.
Yeah, yep, sure is. Yeah. Yeah, so I mean that is definitely one of the challenges. You know, the infrastructure piece of it is for real. You know, I mean, it has impact on our roads and all of our other services out there also. So I'm trying to find a way to offset that by using you know, any of the you know, income generated through outdoor rec. In other words, outdoor rec needs to find a way to pay for itself for some of this ongoing maintenance. So. And actually, there were some pretty creative ideas out there. I mean, one of the most creative ideas we heard was kind of a voluntary surcharge related to outdoor rec. So, for example, you could put like a 1% surcharge, voluntary, mind you, on you know, things like meals, gas, or whatever. But you know, if you choose to pay that 1%, that could go into a pool, then it helps pay for infrastructure improvements or maintenance or things like that. But again, you know, I mean, you can't solve everything by just throwing money at it, so we understand that also too. Although that was a fairly innovative approach, and actually Crested Butte has a program that is set up like that. And I think the main thing is that it's all voluntary, but what they found through their program is that there's roughly only 1% of people that turn that down too. So anyway, that'll be something that we'll have to explore more and bring some of those ideas back to the commissioners. So I'm also been you know, continuing the work with the Dwarf and CFLRP collaboratives. Within Dwarf, we're continuing to collaborate, you know, and specifically working on CFLRP projects right now, and you know, also working on things like the Colorado Strategic Wildfire Action Program. So some of the efforts we've been putting in right now is really to kind of identify the priority landscapes out there within that CFLRP landscape, which is forest-wide. Excuse me. So the main thing we really want to do is identify the larger project areas. And so these would be project areas that are, you know, like say 50,000 acres, maybe even larger. And of course we understand within those project areas we have smaller projects that make up those areas. And so what we're really trying to do is try to align the projects that are NEPA ready and they meet the legislative requirements set forth by CFLRP, as well as the desired conditions that we've worked with within the Dwarf Working Group and the Forest Service. Try to make all those align, and the trick is to make sure that we've also got the projects that are NEPA ready, so that we can kind of get those in the pipeline. You know, this is going to be a 10-year project, and so we're always looking ahead, you know, 2 to 3 years to try to find the ones that align, or find ways to tailor the project so that it does align with the CFLRP goals. That way we've always got funding set up for those projects to keep those projects moving forward. And we're thinking ahead because you've got to get them set up to get them into the pipeline. We've also identified and have been working to develop a tool that helps us to evaluate those projects. And you know, because all these projects that come through a Forest Service, you know, they may have 150 projects. There may be only 50 of them that really align with the CFLRP goals and everything. So we've got to have a way that we kind of can run that thing essentially through like a flow chart, you know, to check and make sure that it meets all the goals. And then if it does, it moves into CFLRP. If it doesn't, it's still a worthy project, but we've got to find different funding to make it happen. So anyway, that's sort of the process for that. And then also have been working on a monitoring plan for the CFLR projects, because that is part of the legislative requirement. Continuing to work on the community wildfire defense grants. We've met in the past with our stakeholders. Basically what we're trying to do is get an understanding of what kind of needs we have as far as the county goes. And we felt like there are two emerging needs so far, and one would be basically building capacity in terms of manpower on the ground. And one of the things that the those community wildfire defense grants can be used for is staffing up, for example, the FireWise program. And since they're really our boots on the ground, that's sort of what we thought may be a good approach to finding funding to help them keep their program moving here in Montezuma County. The other piece of that is equipment, and that adds to your capacity also. But, talk to the road department, talk to Bonnie. We think we may have a need for a couple pieces of equipment that might help the road department, for example, continue to do mitigation in the right-of-way. If we can find the right kind of equipment to help Bonnie continue with her project, some of that definitely has a wildfire component to it too. So we'll try to look and see where we can interface with all that. So in the state of Colorado, only one county was funded out of last year's rounds, which was Archuleta County. And so we've contacted FireWise. FireWise wrote that grant. We've been coordinating with them. We'll try to figure out what worked well for them and why they were successful. We'll try to duplicate that here in Montezuma County if we find projects and everything that looks like it's something we want to advance, and then we'll bring that to the commissioners. And I might add to that, some of the things with that grant, we're really trying to prioritize places, and this is part of the grant program. This is what they're telling us. Prioritize places that have low income, have been impacted by severe disasters, and have a high or very high wildfire hazard potential. We think we qualify on all of those. The other thing is that these grants have a 25% match unless you qualify for a waiver. We think we probably qualify for that waiver, and that would be the thing that we would ask for. And that's just based off of our income level and basically places that are underserved. And
So this
according
is
to them, we
mostly
meet
for
that.
private,
That's correct.
private holdings, correct?
That would be for the private side of the fence, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and of course, the other projects, we want to try to pair them up on the other side of the fence. So we would be trying to line up, CFLRP projects that would, say, be within the WUI, right on the boundaries and things like that. Those would be high priority projects. And so we just try to get the two to fit together as best you possibly can through there. Then the last thing I've got is an update on Paths de Mesa Verde. For Segment A, we've got work underway. Right now, we've got our consultant will be out there looking for possibilities for the final alignment and really trying to negotiate on any of the. We got one key parcel that really we got to start with. That we need to get right of way on that parcel to be able to move it out of the highway right of way. So we'll start with that parcel. If that parcel is a dead end, then we'll have to look for an alternative that just matches with the highway right of way. It's going to be very difficult with the Vista Verde trailer park up there. Boy, as you know, it just narrows down really tight through there. So, it would essentially be a sidewalk is what it would come down to through that area. But anyway, we'll continue to look for alternative routes on that. The lady, I talked to her, I guess, it's been a little while, but she seemed pretty open to visiting about it and everything. So I feel pretty confident that we might have an avenue there, and if we approach her right.
So let me ask you a question, and I realize the path is wider than a 5-foot sidewalk, but we're talking a very short distance there.
Right.
That's quarter of a mile, half a mile?
Right.
Is it really worth the time? Where are we gonna put that? To try and secure or to delay the project, I think, at some point in time, we need to move these projects forward. We can't just keep searching for avenues and begging people to sell their piece of property. We have the right of way. Even if it narrows down to a 5-foot walk, it's still a significant improvement.
Yeah, certainly.
Over the rest of the path. So is the consultant pushing that, or do we just give them the direction to say, let's just move this project forward?
No, and by the way, this would be the only right-of-way we've talked about trying to secure with this project to date. So
I walked on a path last week down there at St. George, and it was a narrow path, and it was great.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. I think, I don't know, just my opinion, we continue to stall these projects with no movement because we want to have the 12-foot wide path all the way. Well, it's or 10
Jim,
foot.
I would disagree with that. we're not being stalled because of the width of the right-of-way or even negotiation on right-of-way. The thing that's really stalling this project is the fact that the funding is not being released until 2026.
Right.
And that's really outside of our sphere of influence. I think, really what we're trying to do is meet what our community has asked us to do, which is to try to get that thing off of the highway as much as possible.
And
We're down to the last piece of that, and I think it's worth putting it off the highway if we can, just because we'd have so many crossings in
Right.
that last segment, driveway crossing and stuff like that. So I think that's really kind of the crux of what we're looking at. So, I mean, if this is, like I said, if the single property is a no-go, then we can't do anything to put it within the highway right of way. So I don't think this particular, and especially this particular segment, is holding us up at all. So, I mean, I think we're moving along pretty good on that.
Okay.
There's a timeline that, this project started in the last century.
Oh, absolutely, yes. Yeah. Oh, boy, believe me. I mean, I probably won't use it anyway, but if I do, it's probably going to be in a wheelchair. So, so I mean.
Move around, Jim, huh?
Yeah, and actually, Jim, you're getting at something that's really, really frustrating for me, is the fact that we can't spend money until, it's put on the table, basically. And even though they promised us that money, there's still a risk that may not even
Sure.
materialize.
And I get that, but I guess my
So-
point is that let's get the hurdles out of the way. Let's get it on the table. That way they're either going to
Sure.
say yay or nay, and we can be done with it.
Sure,
We
sure,
spend
absolutely.
so much effort and time on all this stuff, and
Yeah.
it's like we're floating out there hanging in the wind where we could be doing something maybe better.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I sure understand. So
I mean, we've been talking about this for a decade. If those
Yeah.
people don't want to sell their property, it's not going to happen.
right, yeah.
At some point in time, let's accept a smaller walk. And again,
Yeah.
I realize that it's not the best. It's still in the right of way of the highway, but it's better than walking on the roadway.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, and I agree. And in fact, we've had to take that approach in other places within that right of way, because there are going to be other constrictions, especially over in the Manka side. We've got a couple areas where we definitely do have to narrow that sidewalk down. Yeah. And I agree. I don't have any problem with narrowing it to 4 foot or whatever it takes to get through there. So, yeah.
Okay, sorry.
But no. I think this is basically, you're expressing the frustrations I've had with this project for a really long time right now. I can't wait to get this project off the table, to be
And that's what I'm
honest.
saying. Let's get it on the table and just get
Yeah.
an answer, yes or no.
Absolutely.
And let's move on.
Yeah, and so on that note, so we've got a deadline by the end of the summer to determine whether or not we have right-of-way through there or not. And so at that point, and that's why we broke this up into 2 phases, because we're looking at the right-of-way A first, and then B will be following whichever path leads us forward on that. So I'm still pretty optimistic we may be able to find something out there across some of those lands, and most of the landowners have been very agreeable with us. So anyway, we'll see what comes out of it. But yeah, I agree with you, Jim. And
Okay, sorry.
oh no problem. So the segment B, so that would be from Mesa Verde to the fairgrounds. That's scheduled for the final internal review for June 12th. And at that point, that basically puts an end to the preliminary design phase. And at that point, we'll be moving on to what they call the final office review, which is basically a finished construction set. And at that point, we've got a shovel-ready project. And then for the C and D, the 70%, they've got a slightly different process because that's a CFL project. But anyway, theirs is scheduled for early July, so both of those should be at the shovel-ready point by midsummer. And then, of course, by the end of the summer, we should know on segment A whether or not we're in the right-of-way for CDOT or whether we have our own.
Okay.
So, yeah. Anyway, that concludes my report.
All right.
James,
Yes.
on the deal from Ken Curtis, that was the only time he gave you that he was going to be here?
That was the only time I saw, but I will double check on that for you, Gerald.
Well, he was supposed to be at DWCD the next day at 4 o'clock.
Is that
on
right?
Thursday
Okay.
at 4 o'clock. He's supposed to be here.
Okay.
Wednesday, he was at 4 o'clock. He's supposed to be at Southwest. And then the next day, he was supposed to be over here at 4 o'clock
Okay.
at DWCD's office.
Again, I did send you that flyer, so let me double check that flyer, and I'll get with Ken to confirm which.
And
if he's
and
gonna
they
be
may
here or
have
not.
changed his schedule. I don't know.
Very easy. It could have happened.
Originally, that's what was supposed to happen. He was supposed to be over here on Thursday, over there Wednesday at 4 o'clock, and over here at 4 o'clock on Thursday at DWCD's office. So but it may have got changed.
Okay. Yeah,
Since then.
certainly. Plans do change, so yeah, never know.
Yeah.
All right. Let me. I'll verify that though.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Unless you have anything else. Okay. Very
No.
good. Sounds
Thank you,
good.
James.
Right.
Appreciate it. Okay, Ian.
Heard back from Montezuma Water Company's attorney on the agreement, and a representative from Montezuma County, I believe it's gonna be Steve, is gonna reach out to county staff to engage in further discussion, as I understand it. And so, I did give them permission to reach out and chat with us, and so that call should be forthcoming. But I wanted to give you guys that update that I got from their attorney.
Okay.
Ironwood, we continue to monitor the pile there. I've had conversations with CDPHE. Nothing's been filed in court by Ironwood in terms of asking for any sort of extension, and so the stipulated injunction requires them to have the pile fully removed by the end of May. And the intent is, if the pile is not removed at that point, that we will move forward with a contempt action. I think I discussed that last week as well, but we continue to talk about that, and my understanding is CDPHE will send their inspectors down right at the beginning of June, and we're gonna get drone pictures and then go from there. Road 41, the fences are starting to move there. Rob went out and visited last 2 weeks ago, and the fences still hadn't started to move, but did reach out, and those fences are gonna begin to move out of the right of way. And so that's supposed to be done by the end of the summer, and my understanding is that process has begun, so that's good news. There is a small section of fence there that we did agree to have conversations with the landowner about potentially acquiring some land from the landowner in order to move the center line of that road a little bit, so the fence is out of the right of way on the one side. I think the idea is once they move the rest of their fences out of the right of way, then we'll engage in those discussions and see if we can come to some sort of an agreement. That section of the road is sort of interesting because on the one side it's a steep bank, and so it could be advantageous for both parties to shift the road slightly in that spot, to get the fence out of the right of way and to give us some more room to operate and maintain that road like we need to. Engaged in conversations with attorneys from our insurance company last week regarding the suit involving the death that occurred at the jailhouse. Mr. Newman was the deceased party there. They're in the process of discovery right now, and so just working out some of the details of that in those discovery requests, and I think we got that settled, and so that case will continue to move through the discovery phase, and we'll see what it yields. But other than that, just dealing with day-to-day stuff. But those are the big updates from the cases.
Questions?
No. Good, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks,
All right.
Ian.
Very good. Travis?
Last week was really busy, day-to-day stuff. Was able to attend the Dolores Town Hall meeting last night, and I'll let the Commissioner Candelaria expound on that. I do have some house cleaning things to do. This was previously approved. It's a transfer order from the Claire Ormiston Fund to Social Services. It's transfer order 1/2023, and again, this was a previously approved, but the treasurer actually needs the transfer order, and it's for $3,501.26.
Yes, I move we approve transfer order number 1-2023, the amount of $501.26 from the Claire Ormiston Fund to Social Services.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to accept order number 1, 2023, transfer in the amount of $3,501.26 from the Clara Armiston Fund to Social Services Fund for Cancer Patient Expenses. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 And then secondly is a schedule of receipts and disbursements for the treasurer's office. The date is from July 1st of '22 to 12/31 of '22. And obviously the totals you can see at the bottom, county funds total. If you want me to go through those specifically, I will, but the totals are at the bottom. And
I
to
don't-
just-
I don't have any questions on it. I think we all got it yesterday, so
Yeah,
we've all seen it.
go ahead.
I move to accept the schedule of receipts and disbursements from 7/1/2022 to 12/31/2022,
Second.
as presented.
Sorry, Gerald. I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept and sign the schedule of receipts and disbursements for Montezuma County as presented. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then our April disbursements for the general fund was $1,121,232.65. The road and bridge was $440,334.93. Public health was $193,176.50. Capital fund, $25,309.33. Administration fund was $9,065.28. Landfill, $124,878.23. Check register total, $1,913,996.92. Social services, $1,385,543.04. Grand total was $3,299,539.96.
I would so move to approve the financials for May for Montezuma County in the amount of $3,299,539.96.
Second.
I think it's April.
April, not May, wrong month.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to accept the financials for Montezuma County for the month of April 1st through 30th in the amount of $3,299,539.96. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 And then lastly, this come in late. This is a letter of intent. Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment is trying to get a grant for its Strategic Prevention Framework Partnerships for Success for States. It's a grant to help with education and prevention of youth, drugs and alcohol, that type of thing. There is no commitment on the part of the county at this point in time. It's just basically a letter saying, yeah, we support you going forward and trying to get the grant. So I just need your approval to sign off on it and submit it to Region 9 so that they can move forward and see if they're successful.
Ian, did you have any comment on that one?
I looked at it, it came, I just looked at it late last night. It's just a letter of support for CDPHE to seek this funding, so, you know, from a legal standpoint, it doesn't bind us to anything. It's just like any other letter of support you guys sign.
Okay. Can you pull that letter of support up, Travis? Or I guess I can pull it up on my.
I would so move we sign a letter of support for the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment for participation in Strategic Prevention Framework Partnership for Success for State Grant.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to sign the letter of intent for the participation in the Strategic Prevention Framework Partnerships for Success for States Grants. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
And that's all I have, gentlemen.
all right.
Travis, do you have a copy of the payables for him to sign?
I signed it.
Of the
The
payables, though?
payables, I need a payable.
Okay,
Of the
I'll
That-
go,
amount to-
I'll
That's
go
okay, I
print
can
that.
print it, I just didn't know if you had one.
I don't have that for print, no.
I'll get it. Okay, Commissioner Lindsay, to my right.
Yes, last week, did some phone calls and meetings in the stores. We went over and visited with Phil Weiser, State Attorney General, on some water issues and I guess, merger between Safeway and Kroger's. He had some concerns, and we voiced our concerns, but mainly we spoke to him about water and the issues in the Colorado Basin, and Gerald can allude to that a lot better than I can. Also, Thursday was meeting day, went to a dispatch meeting, and we've got a lot of information to go through, and my recollection of the meeting and recommendation would be that we also, and what they recommended is a strategic plan going forward for all of our communications needs. And also, they're not gonna worry about MOU or an IGA for this year. They're gonna take Ian and the attorney for the city of Cortez, and they're gonna get together and make a new one for next year, so we'll see that next year. So it was like, never mind.
Well, hopefully we'll see it within the next
Yeah,
90 days, but,
yeah.
okay.
And that about, you want to say anything?
Not right now.
Okay. And Travis was there also, and after that, just like to congratulate the Denver Nuggets on sweeping LA in 4 games and going to the NBA Finals, and also Micah Radowski for his win at the, well, it wasn't a win, but his
He's a-
participation in the PGA Senior Tour.
Senior Tour.
So that's quite a star on our chart around here. But also, the Cortez baseball team is now the regional champs around here, going on to play a little bit more. And a little gal by the name of Peyton Perry won the S3DA Western Nationals in archery. So we've had quite a week going on in Montezuma County. Congratulations to all.
I agree. Congratulations to all. Commissioner Copenhaver.
This last week, I did attend a meeting with Kent and Travis, with our Attorney General for the state of Colorado, and we did urge him to take some action that we thought would be appropriate as far as water issues with the Colorado River. I'm not sure we made much headway, but we let it be known that we were not in favor of the lower basin states just being allowed to pull all the water they want to. And using the guidelines that they set up as far as balancing these 2 major reservoirs to try to keep them from letting all the water out of the bottom end of it. So I think we made our feelings known to him, but I'm not sure that any action will come of it. But we at least let him know what we felt about it a little bit. Not all that we felt about it, but some of it. So, and other than that, I just had phone conversations and stuff. I've got a couple of meetings this week, but I do think, according to that schedule, that actually the state engineer is supposed to be at DWCD on Thursday afternoon at 4 o'clock. If anybody is interested, if there's a change in that, why? I mean, you could call the DWCD office and see if it's going to be there, but he's supposed to be there Thursday afternoon at 4 o'clock.
Yeah, I think James just sent us an email and said you're correct.
Yeah.
That's
So
kind of
it'll be here in Cortez rather than having to go to Durango. So if somebody's interested in visiting with him about state issues as far as what the water engineer, state engineer. So that's all I got.
Okay. Well, I got to actually drive by Lake Powell Tuesday afternoon and then coming home late Friday afternoon on my trip to St. George, where I attended a WIR conference, Western Interstate Region, which takes care of all the 15 western states. Anyway, don't quote me on that. The western states, some pretty interesting conversations out there. Most of it was focused around water, wildfire, and resiliency, and how do we fix some of the issues that we're in. And just like you were stating, that equalization between Lake Powell and Lake Mead, it just doesn't seem to be working. And then turning off the faucet to the lower basin states, where the upper basin states are the ones that are really paying the price. Got to come back and enjoy the weekend in the mountains, which was great. We had our workshop yesterday, which we took care of a lot of that business today. As far as the HVAC units, the janitorial bids, had our discussion about the intergovernmental agreement with the town of Rico. And then we attended the Dolores workshop along with their regular meeting last night. In that workshop, the most significant thing was the contract as it relates to the services that we provide for their law enforcement. And then they were presented with a presentation from SGM on their water system, which right now phase 2 of their water system to get it upgraded, because they are in need of changing a lot of their pipe sizes and upgrading to PVC infrastructure, and about right at the tune of $5 million, which pretty much took their breath away. And then following that, their building inspector said, oh yeah, by the way, we also have our storm sewer plan, and we're looking at about $1.5 to $2 million on this also. And that didn't even include curb and gutter and asphalt that it has to drain into so that you don't plug your storm drains. But I think they realized that they're facing some really big issues over there as far as their infrastructure. I'm glad we're not facing that kind of issues. We face enough, but we have spent a lot of money on our infrastructure and our roads. So that's kind of about everything that I have. And gentlemen, with that, I think we've come to the end of our agenda.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
The movement seconded to adjourn this May 23rd, 2023 meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.